Okay, so this is Geometry Day 2. Got a quiz tomorrow. All right, number 1 says find the area of a triangle. And I know that's kind of hard to see, but you've got 24 here and 9 here. And it says find the area. Okay, so on this one, on number 1, they don't give you a formula to use. This is one that you have to have memorized. So this is a formula that you do have to have memorized, and that's why I make you do the foldable. So you'll have those memorized. So on your foldable, what's the formula for area of a triangle? What? Half base times height. So it's 1/2 base times height. So y'all are going to need to write some stuff down, figure out what would be beneficial for you to write down. 1/2 base times height. The B stands for base, which is the bottom of something. So in this particular case, what's the bottom? 24. So 1/2. And this means times in math when they're all together. So 1/2 times 24 times 9. 1/2 times 24 times 9. Okay? So you can type that all in the calculator at one time, or you can do it piece by piece. And what are we getting for the answer? 108. Okay. All right, number 2 says find the area of a circle. Find the area of a circle. This one, they've given you the formula. A equals pi r squared. A equals pi r squared. So you might know what the R stands for. Radius. All right, I do want you to write this down, what I'm about to write in black. Write this on your paper. Draw a circle. Draw a circle. And I want you to label, sorry, I don't know why it's messing up today. I'll write it underneath here. I want you to label that the radius. The radius only goes halfway across. The radius only goes halfway across. Anybody know what it's called when it goes all the way across? Diameter. And the way I remember that is just by how many letters are in the word. Radius has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. And diameter, how many letters are there? 8. So this one has more letters, so it goes longer. Diameter goes all the way across. Radius only goes halfway. Okay, all that to say, the formula has pi r squared, and R stands for radius. The 38 right here, again, I know it's hard to see, is the 38 the radius? What if it's the diameter. They've drawn a line all the way across. Okay, we only want the radius. The radius is going to be half of that. How do you figure out what half of 38 is? Divide by 2. Okay, so what's 38 divided by 2? What? All right, so I'm going to put A equals pi, and I'm going to put 19 for the radius and square it. All right, in your calculator, there is a pi button. So you don't need to do 3.14. You can do the actual pi. So it's right here. You have to hit second. And then the pi button is with the caret key. And then you can put parentheses 19 squared. Parentheses 19 squared. And we'll go 1 decimal place. We'll go 1 decimal place. So it'd be 1,134 point what? 1. 1,134.1. Okay. Anybody have a question on that one? All right, number 3. This one says find the circumference of the circle. And they give you the formula for that. C equals 2 pi r. And they give you this picture. All right. All right, Jack, what did we say the R stood for? Radius. Good. Riley M., is this 29 the radius or the diameter? The radius. Good. So we're ready to go ahead and plug that in. Shakira, how do I plug 29 into this formula? What do I write? And don't forget about just the pi. So 2 pi parentheses 29. 2 pi parentheses 29. So we'll just put it in the R spot. So in my calculator, I could just type that in. 2 pi parentheses 29. And I'll go one decimal place. So 182.2. 182.2. Okay. You may have a question? All right, number 4 says find the volume of a cone, and they give you V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. 1/3 pi r squared h. Madison, what do you think the R stands for? Radius. Good. Elijah, what do you think the H stands for? Height. Very good. All right, so this is what the picture looks like. We got a 12. And we got a 14. Okay. All right, so for this, I'm going to write V equals 1/3 pi. 1/3 pi. Riley K., what does the R stand for again? Radius. Riley K., is 12 the radius? No. How do I find the radius? Divided by 2. The radius is going to be 6. So you got to pay attention to whether it's the diameter or the radius. So the radius is 6. Jeremy, what do we say H stood for? So how high is this cone? 14. Good. All right. Faith, type that in for us, and other people can do it too to double check her. Type that in. Tell us what you get. Oh, and I didn't either. My fault. Guys, do you see the square right here? I forgot about it. So it's 6 squared. Okay, it's 6 squared. So it's R squared, and I didn't pay attention to that. Okay. All right. All right, number 5, find the volume of the cone. So same formula, V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. And you've got this picture. Oh, I can't even read it. This is an 8, and this is a 13. All right, Stephen R., what does the R stand for? But it stands for radius. Which one of these numbers is the radius, the 8 or the 13? The 8. So I put it in the R spot. I put 8, and then I got to put a square with it. Chase, what's the H stand for? Height, which is what? 13. Samaria, type that in. Tell us what you get. Good. 871.2. Y'all agree with that? Y'all good? All right. Number 6. Number 6. Riley M., read this one for us. Circumference. Okay. All right, so this one, they give you a formula. What do you do when they give you a formula? You write it down. You use it. It's important. All right, so our formula is C equals 2 pi r. So everybody write that down. C equals 2 pi r. All right, what is the first number that they give you in the problem? 18.84. What do they say that 18.84 is? The circumference. So which letter is the circumference? So I have to put 18.84 over here. I'm going to drop down my 2, drop down my pi, and I'm going to look back up in the problem. Did they tell me the radius? Did they give me any other numbers to plug in? No. So I'm going to put an R. I'm going to put an R. Okay. What is this one asking? What does the question ask you? All right. What is the diameter? Now, diameter, it would make sense to have the letter D. Do any of these things right here give me the diameter? Like, bam. Well, hold on. Like, give me just the diameter. No. Okay, but LeVar's right. If I know the radius, can I eventually figure out the diameter? Yes. Okay. So, we've got this. We're going to draw our line, and we're going to figure out what the radius is. We're going to figure out what the radius is. So, circle R. That's what we're trying to figure out, what R is. What has to move away from R? The 2 and the pi. Now, what's happening with these? We're multiplying. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. Since both of these are being multiplied, you can divide both of them at the same time. You can divide both of them at the same time since you are multiplying them at the same time. All right, everybody in your calculator, type in 18.84, but please put the 2 pi in parentheses. Please put the 2 pi in parentheses. Hold on just a minute. All right, well, everyone look up here real quick. Look. See how I didn't put the 2 pi in parentheses, and then I did? See how I got 2 separate answers? Okay, we want the one with the parentheses. So you've got to remember that. That's the most important thing to remember on this problem. So we get 2.99, all right, if we put it in parentheses. And LeVar says that rounds up to what? 3. What letter did we just get by itself? What letter? R. So R equals 3. R equals 3. Now, I bet you $5, hands down, I'm going to win the bet, don't worry. On the quiz tomorrow, I guarantee you at least one person in this class is going to choose A on this problem on the quiz. I guarantee you. I bet you $5, one person in this class is going to choose A. One person in this class will choose it, okay? One person will do it. One person always does. It says, what is the diameter? We just found the radius, which is 3, okay? If this is 3, then how much is this? 3. And what's 3 plus 3? So the diameter is C. The diameter is C. Okay? All right, number 7. Elijah, read this one. All right, Stephen A., what do I want you to do first? Good, write the formula down, perfect. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. All right, Brandon, what number do they give you in the problem? All right, and they tell you that's the what? What else is it? What do they say that the volume? The volume is 2,400, so that goes in the V spot. I'm going to drop down the 4/3, drop down the pi. And LeVar, did they tell you what R is? No. I'm going to put R to the third. Okay, I'm going to draw my line. Hallie, what am I trying to get by itself? R, so I'm going to circle that. Chase, what needs to move away from R? Andy. All right, so the first thing we're going to move is these two. What are these two doing, guys? So we're going to divide. We're going to put parentheses, 4/3 pi under there. Okay. Riley K., what do you get for that one? Do you agree with that? 532.9. All right, now this one's a little tricky. That's R to the third power. That? Okay. All right, so we've got R to the third power. To get rid of the third power, you have to do the third root. And we haven't really learned that in this class. We've done it on our calculator, but we haven't really talked about it a lot. So on your calculator, you might remember what button you have to press? Very good. Math. Good. All right, hit the math button. And you go down to what number? 4. And you type in 572.9. And it gives you, all right, 8.3 is the radius. 8.3 is the radius. 8.3 is the radius. The radius only goes part way across. It only goes halfway across. Brandon, what is the question asking for? The diameter. So if this is 8.3, then that's 8.3. What do I do with those? Add them, which gives me a 16.6. Okay. Now, you could also, on this problem, you could plug in your answer choices, but you have to be careful if you do that. You can't just plug in 16.6 into the R, okay, if you choose to do it that way. Because what are all the answer choices? What are they? Like, what word are they on the circle? They're all the diameters. So if you wanted to plug them in for R, what would you have to do with each one of these? Divide them by 2 if you wanted to plug them in and test them that way. Okay, so be careful with that. All right, number 8. The volume of a cylinder is 3,078.76. The height is 20 inches. What's the radius of the cylinder? V equals pi r squared h. All right. LeVar, what do I do first? Good. V equals pi r squared h. Elijah, what do I do next? What number do they give you? What is that? What do they say it is? What do they say that 3,000 is? What do they say the 3,000 is? Go backwards. What do they say it is? All right, read just the first sentence. Read just the first sentence. It's the volume. So what letter does it go in for? V. All right, 3,078.76 in the V spot. Okay? Jeremy, what other number do they give us? Uh-huh. What letter does that go in for? What do they say 20 is? 20 is the height, so it goes in for H. So I'm going to put R squared, and then I'm going to put 20 in parentheses. Okay? All right, Stephen A., I draw my line and circle what? R. Stephen A., what two things need to move away from R first? Pi and what else? The 20. How do I move the pi and the 20? Divide them. Very good. So 20 pi in parentheses, or you could put pi and 20. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. Okay? Hallie, what does that give you? Mm-hmm. Blame it on the calculator. Can anybody tell me what they got? Yep. So we'll just round that up to 49 because that's 0.99999. So we'll do 49 equals R squared. Can anybody guess how you get rid of a square? Square root. Square root. All right? Does anybody know without a calculator what the square root of 49 is? 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. All right, let's read what it says. What does this one ask? What's the question? So are we done? Yes. Number 9, a triangle has vertices at 1, 3, 2, -3, and -1, -1. What's the approximate perimeter of the triangle? Brandon, what's the key word? Perimeter. Samari, what does perimeter mean? Add all the sides. All right, so guys, if I'm adding all these sides, do I need to graph it? Do I need to graph it? No. You only have to graph it when you have to find what the longest side is or what the shortest side is. If I'm having to add all of them, it doesn't really matter what it looks like, so I don't have to graph it. Okay, so this is one where I just draw a triangle. You can graph it if you want, but that's more work. So I just draw a triangle. So you need to do this on your own paper. All right, Samaria, do you remember how I'm going to get how long the sides are? Do you remember what I'm going to have to do? Very good. The distance formula. So guys, I really need y'all to start pulling these out more and looking at them, okay? We're getting to the point in the semester where you can't just sit there and say, I don't know what it is. You need to pull your sheets out. So that's the square root one. The square root one. All right, Riley M., help me with the one on the left. What would I type in my calculator? Good. Madison, help me with this one on the right. What would I type in my calculator? Minus. Squared. And then a plus. Good. And Shakira, help me with the bottom one. All right, Jack, tell me what you get for this one on the left. Faith, tell me what you get for this one over here. And Brandon, tell me what you get for the bottom one. So we can type it in just so I know. And those of you who I didn't call on need to be typing one of them in. Pick one of them to type in. If I didn't call on you, pick one of them to type in so we can have some verification. Faith, you ready? What you got? Good. Jackie, ready? Okay. Go ahead and graph this one. So go ahead and draw an X and Y. And I'm going to go back real quick on the video. I didn't hit record. So number 9 on the video, you need to add 6.08, 3.6, and 4.47 because it says perimeter, and you get 14 on number 9. All right, number 10 says find the area of a right triangle. Area is 1/2 base times height. So you do have to graph it to figure out which one's the base and which one's the height. All right, when I graph this, -1, -7 goes here. 5, -5 here. 9, -17 goes way off the graph. That's fine. Just put it way somewhere down there. All right, which point do you think is going to get the box? Which point is going to get the right angle? 5, -5. Good. So the box goes here. The two sides that make the box, you're going to have to kind of like rotate it in your head, all right? So it really looks like this. If y'all rotate it, do you agree with that? The whatever makes the box is always the base and the height. So this is the base and that's the height. Whichever two sides make the box is going to be the base and the height. On the base and the height. Okay, so before we can plug in for the base, we have to know how long it is. How do I figure out how long this is? How do I figure out how long this is? What do I have to do? What formula can help me find the length of this? Distance formula. So this point is -1, -7, and this point is 5, -5. So you need to do the square root formula for that one, and you're going to have to do it for that one. So you don't have to do it for all three. You just have to do it for 2 of them. Okay. All right, so go ahead in your calculators, pick one of them to do. So you need to do this one. You also need to do this one. So you get 6.3 is the base, 12.6 is the height. Last thing I do is put them into this formula. 1/2. What's happening here? Multiplying. So the base is 6.3 and the height is 12.6. So now you got to type that in your calculator. And somebody other than Chase, tell me what you get. 39 is close enough. 39 is close enough. All right, last example, last one. Find the area of a right triangle with vertices 13, -1, -9, 3, and -3, -9. Brandon, tell me something that's important about this problem. Stephen R., what's the formula for area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height for a triangle. 1/2 base times height. Chase, am I going to have to graph this one? Yes, I'm going to have to graph it. All right, 1, 2, 13, -1, -9, 3, -3, -9. All right, this one is a little tricky to see. You really have to think about it. Which one do you think gets the box? This top one or this one on the right? Which one do you think gets the box? Which one? The top one. All right, that one is a right angle. This one's a little smush. So this is my box. Oh, no wonder. Okay, let me start over. Oh, teachers make mistakes too. All right, 13, negative 1. All right, 13, negative 1, negative 9, positive 3, and negative 3, negative 9. Is that better? Okay, so where's the box? Left, right, or bottom? Bottom. Okay, so here's the box. The two sides that makes the box are always your base and your height. The two sides that make the box are your base and your height. Okay? All right, so Jack, what point is this one down here? If I'm going to label it, what point is this? Good. So Mary, what point is this? And this one is 13, negative 1. Shakira, how am I going to figure out how long the height is and how long the base is? Good, the distance formula. So the square root formula. Square root formula. All right, go ahead and get your calculators going. Very good. So plug in the base and the height, multiply them, and you get 119 for your final answer. Okay? All right, are there any questions? All right, you got 3 Oyos today. 3 Oyos.